Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to our mid-year book freakout tag. Is that what we're calling it now? Anyway, yes, it is the end of June, beginning of July in this year of our Lord 2026, and it is time to do the mid-year book freakout tag. I grabbed these questions. These are a little bit different than the ones I've done before. I think these I grabbed from Kel Sweetie, who I'll link her video down below. But let's go ahead and talk books, talk about what this half of the year with a baby has looked like for us here on this channel. So the first question is the best book of 2026 so far. Now, this is good news, is we've actually had a much better reading year than we did in 2025. 2025 was a lot of mid-book reading. I think partially that was because I was picking up a lot of romance books just because I needed a little bit of a less demanding read whilst being pregnant. And not that there's anything wrong with romance books, they're just not my preferred genre, and it's very hard for a romance book to like really hit for me. So I do think my 2025 was super mid, but since I have like so many hours in the day to devote to reading, I think I've been a lot more selective on the books that I'm reading this year. Therefore, I've had a lot more 5 stars in this first half of the year than I had in total for 2025. So I think that's really good, because I was really disappointed with how like my reading year was looking, because I did not want to repeat that mistake in 2026. So all of that being said, I do believe my best book of 2026 is The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. Now, this was tough because I also would say A Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McEwen and then The Reformatory by Tiana Reeve. But the Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow was the first book that I read that I completed this year, and I still think about that book. So I feel like even though I had quite a few 5 stars thus far this year, The Everlasting has been the one that I just will randomly have thoughts about. So I feel like that makes it the best book that I've read this year. If I have to sum up The Everlasting for you, I don't know how I would do that in one sentence or less, but it is a time loop fantasy with characters who we don't typically see as our leads in fantasies. There you go. That's my pitch for it. Also saw something really exciting that it has actually been optioned for a film, TV show, something like that. I think it's on Netflix. I don't know. I saw it yesterday. I would have to go and look it up again. But yeah, I saw that. It was really exciting that they actually are going to make a TV show out of it. I think it could be, it was Netflix. It was Netflix because one of the writers from the German TV show Dark has been attached to it. And I think that's a really good pairing because Dark is also a time travel time loop kind of situation, very complex. So I feel like I can see why that writer being attached to it would be a really good thing. So very excited about that. Okay, next question. Next question. So favorite new release of 2026 so far. This one was kind of tough. I'm actually working on my most anticipated new releases of 2026 vlog. Well, it's like most anticipated sequels of 2026, which most of my anticipated books are sequels. But I have 12 Months by Jim Butcher, and then I have This Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany. I'm staring up a notebook, but it's keeping him occupied for now. So I was between those 2 books, but I actually think I'm going to have to go with The Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crum. I actually gave it a 5 stars. This was the first book in my new book club that I'm doing with a mom's group a local moms group here, and that was the first book that we picked, and I had a really, really great time with this book. I was impressed that it's a debut novel for Tiffany Crumb, and I had a hard time getting into 12 Months. Although I ended up giving 12 Months by Jim Butcher 4 stars, it's not my favorite of the series, and therefore I think I'm going to have to go with The Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crumb. I guess I haven't been getting into like what these books are about to pitch them to you, but I feel like these are books that I've seen have been talked about a lot. So I just don't know. It's about 2 podcasters who are best friends, and one of them goes missing along with her husband, and we get like 2 timelines of their backstory and also the current timeline while they're missing. There you go, my elevator pitch for The Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crumb. Definitely recommend the audiobook. I think the audiobook is a really great experience. It is the most anticipated book of the second half of 2026. This one was tough because most of the anticipated sequels came out already. But I had to go and look up. I was like, okay, at first I was going to say, and I will still mention this as an honorable mention, but it's already come out before this video comes out, so I feel like it doesn't technically meet this criteria, but I am really looking forward to reading fellow booktuber and writer Christy Ann Jones' debut novel, Theodore's Tea Shop. The reason I'm not technically putting that on this list is because it has come out. It came out in June. I do not have my copy yet, so I would really like it, but I am looking forward to reading this book. Lincoln's on the stairs. So that was my first thought when I was thinking about this question. But then I remembered that, oh no, what's up? Oh, but then I remembered that this gem is coming out in September of 2026. If you know anything about me and you've been around this channel for a while, I love Baldur's Gate. I'm not alone with that. And I am an Astarion stan. I actually got Neil Newbin's. He's the voice actor for Astarion autograph at DragonCon back in 2024. I have bracelets that I made that you can get on my Etsy shop if you would like them. I love them, and we just love ourselves our little vampire boy from Baldur's Gate. My little vampire loving heart from my teenage years just ate him up. But all that being said, T. Kingfisher wrote a novel about Astarion, and it's coming out in September of 2026. You just know. I want this book in my grubby little paws so bad. So that one is my most anticipated book for the rest of 2026. So stoked. All right, so biggest disappointment of 2026 so far. This was actually super hard, which we love to see. There wasn't any books that I've read that I was looking forward to that have been huge disappointments. The only one I will say that I pulled up, it's the only 1 star I've given this year, so screwed up my ratings. But I read God and the Comics by Kat Cho. It's a YA novel about this girl's webtoon character coming to life. Who's like a god, a Korean god, reincarnated into like a high school boy. And basically like the premise is the belief in him through her webtoon comics basically brings the gods back from her comics out of the abyss, and she's got to help them. And I love a story about a character being dropped into a world that they love, or characters from their world coming into ours. Those are some of my favorite types of stories, but this one just didn't hit. I don't know if it's the author's writing isn't for me, if it was just the general setup. Something about this book, the only reason I finished it was easy enough of a read that I was able to quickly finish it. But it was not my favorite, and I was sad. I saw this one on Independent Bookstore Day in Blue Willow Bookstore down in downtown Houston, and I was like, "Oh, this looks so good." So glad I didn't purchase it. I got it from my library because, yeah, 1 star. Okay, DNFs so far. I have one. Technically, yes. I think I only have one DNF so far this year, and that is Bloodbound by Ellis Hunter. It was a book of the month book. It was like a new release that they got early. It was a romantasy. I really don't want to talk about it. There was so much. It was like the kitchen sink of romantasy. And I just really didn't care. I did get like 7. Why do so many kids' toys have to make so much noise? What? He's basically like, would you rather me scream into that mic for you? Or would you rather listen to this song in the background? Those are your only choices. So, yeah, Bloodbound, I actually got 70% of the way through that book, and I was determined. And then I left it here before I went to Tampa, and when I came back, I was like, yeah, I'm not picking that book back up. So it's my only DNF of the year, and I don't regret it, and I will be putting up on my Pango if you want it. It was not for me. Not for me. Okay, I think the next one is, what has been your biggest surprise read so far of the year? That's a good question. I was thinking on this one, I think, right before I hit record. Surprise read of the year was probably Dating After the End of the World by Geneva Rose. I didn't know how a zombie romance, now that is not a romance with a zombie, but like a zombie apocalypse story, but structured like a romance novel would go. And I surprisingly liked it quite a bit. I give it 4 stars. And I do believe there's another one that's going to come out. But yeah, I just wasn't sure how that was going to work out. And it really worked out for me. It really was my vibe. Despite the fact that it was like a old bully trope, that was my least favorite part. It's the reason it's not a 5-star book for me, because otherwise I had a really good time. And I really, really liked the whole concept of it. It was really fun, right? Who has been your favorite new author? Oh, I had a ton of new authors this year. This one is a hard one too. So I could say Alex E. Haro because this is the first book of hers that I've read. I could also say Stacey McGowan. I could say Tiana Reeve-Dew. But I think that's hard because I haven't read another one of any of their books to really make that decision who's a favorite new author. So I think those 3 are the contenders at the moment. And once I've read another book by them, I know Tiana Reeve-Dew has another book coming out this year. I'll put it here. So maybe if I pick that one up and I really enjoy that one, I could say she's my favorite new author to me of this year. But yeah, I'm not sure yet, because I feel like if I just read one book, how can I really say they're a new favorite author? Because it's just a new book that I really love. But it's like if I don't like any of their other books, then are they a new favorite? You know what I mean? Becky. Books that have made you cry this year. If you've been around here for a long time, you know I don't typically cry while reading books, even when they're sad. I think I wouldn't say like cry, but I think any book that really like emotionally wrecked me like the most would probably be The Reformatory by Tiana Reeve-Dew. I haven't given a summary of this because I just talked about it in my tarot card readathon vlogs. And I feel like it's been around for a little while and is very popular in the Booktube community. But essentially it is following Robert Stevens Jr., as he goes to a reform school, and his sister Gloria is trying to and his sister is trying to get him out. It takes place in Florida in the Jim Crow South, during the time of Jim Crow, and it is a bit of Tiana Rivdu reclaiming some of her family histories, because she actually had an uncle who went to a reformatory school in Florida and unfortunately passed away at the school. And her finding about it later in life. And so she kind of wrote this story to reclaim it. It's like a Southern Gothic, super great, but obviously the subject matter is pretty tough. And so although it didn't make me cry, I definitely felt like probably the most amount of sadness reading this book. My goodness, trying to get through all of these before he has a freak out. Okay, so what has been a book that made you happy this year? I think the book that's made me the most happy, like kicking my feet, having a good time, was A Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McEwen. Because this was basically like Avatar: The Last Airbender meets Peaky Blinders is my pitch to you. And I had a good time. I can't wait for the second one. That's all. That is all. What needs to be finished by the end of the year? So, like I mentioned, I am slowly but surely working on a vlog for my most anticipated sequels of the year. I've already finished 12 Months, so bully to me. But I still need to finish A Tapestry of Fate by S.A. Chakraborty, which is the second book following the Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi. I need to finish... Oh my goodness. What is it called? What is it called? It's the second book to Dire Bound. This one right here. I need to finish this book. And then I need to finish this book, which is the follow-up to Long Live Evil. Not able to remember the titles of these books, but here they are. Thank goodness for editing. So these are the 3 books that I'm going to say I need to finish by the end of the year, but I know I'm going to finish them by the end of the year. Are there any others? Possibly, but I can't think of them. And we are on borrowed time always with a baby, so I'm not going to try to create a long list of books. Oh, actually, I have one more to this. I have one more to add to this list, and that is Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. And I know, late to the party, but at the same time, I've been wanting to read this book for so long. It was on my to-read list since before it blew up on Booktube. I saw it and I was like, oh, I think I would really like this book. And then for some reason, I just kept putting it off. And I think more people are talking about it. It's so popular. And now I keep putting it off some more. However, Matt Dinniman is going to be at DragonCon this year. And so I'm taking that as my sign that I have to at least read the first book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. Plus, I saw that it got optioned for a TV show as well. I think by Amazon Studios, something like that. So, going to take that as my sign that we need to get on board and get this going. And that way I can go and meet Matt Dinniman and see him on a panel and not be completely lost about what's going on. There we go. I knew we'd find something to talk about. Okay. This is going to be, I'm repeating myself a little bit here, but I've only read 22 books this year thus far. I don't think I said that before. I've read 22 books this year thus far. So there's a lot of repeats here. My favorite horror read, The Reformatory by Tiana Rivdu. We're not going to talk about it again. My favorite LitFic read. Did I even read any LitFics this year? I don't often read LitFics. It's not my cup of tea typically. So part of me would say that Everlasting could be like LitFic fantasy, but it is pretty heavy in fantasy. I would say like This Story Might Save Your Life is kind of a mix of LitFic meets thrillers. I think it could be in either of those categories. So that is what I'm going to put for that one because that's probably the closest I've come to reading a LitFic this year. My favorite nonfiction read this year. I had two great nonfiction reads. I read Boy Mom by Ruth Whitman, and I just finished. That's right. And I just finished Jane Austen's Bookshelf by Rebecca Romney for the Tarot Card Readathon. I think I'm probably going to go with Boy Mom just because, I don't know. But Jane Austen's Bookshelf, I've been thinking a lot about as well. And I learned a ton about just the history of the English novel and, all of the different English women authors who have kind of been buried in time. So I don't know. I gave both of them 5 stars. I had a really good time, and they both deliver such different things that I'm not going to choose, and you can't make me. Oh, I guess Boy Mom I felt like was kind of self-explanatory, but just in case, it is about a woman's who is trying to figure out how to raise her young boys, or technically speaking, rear her young boys in a world where the manosphere exists, and there's a lot going on when it comes to young boys, and to kind of how to navigate that as a feminist. Are you eating a Cheerio? Oh, how is that? Is that good Cheerio? Is that good Cheerio? Favorite video of this year thus far? I haven't filmed a ton, and I haven't done a lot of really cool videos this year. I've been slowly but surely getting back into the groove of things. So I'm going to have to say it was really fun to do another spoiler-filled vlog for a Dresden Files series. For the Dresden Files series, I had done, if you don't know what that is, I reread the entirety of the Dresden Files series, including the books that I hadn't read, which was 3 or 4 of them. There are currently 18 now, and I just finished the 18th book. Here, baby. Here. Mommy doesn't want you climbing on that. So I just finished the 18th book, 12 Months, and did a spoiler-filled vlog on that. And I just really had a good time doing that reread. And I enjoy the conversations I have with people in the comments on those books. So that was probably my favorite video to film, because it was coming back to do to some old friends and getting to do something like that again. So I guess I have to pick that one. Okay, final reflections. Oh my goodness, folks, we've made it. Despite some pausing and baby getting kind of upset, we have made it to the final question of the mid-year book freakout tag. Mid-year freakout book tag? Please, somebody tell me what it's really supposed to be called. Yeah, so we've made it. It's done a final question, final reflections, final thoughts on this first half of 2026. Yeah, like I mentioned, it's been a tough year for us. Baby is now 9 months old, which is crazy. So he has made Booktube tough. I've talked a lot about it in my different vlogs. I'm sure you guys are getting sick of hearing about it, but he doesn't really have designated nap times. He's not really good at going down by himself, so I do not have a lot of spare time where he's not bustling around and making noise and trying to get into the frame. And I don't want him to be on camera, so that means trying to navigate that, and he's becoming more mobile, so that also means me making sure that he's not getting into too much trouble while I'm filming, which can be tough. So all of that has made being part of Booktube even harder, which made it, a little tough to even think about continuing because, you know, I haven't grown. This channel hasn't grown very quickly at all since I really started in 2024. And that's fine. You know, I really do. Yeah. I really enjoy making these videos, and I had to reflect on that and decide that I don't want to stop making the videos. They're just going to have to look a little bit different, and I'm going to have to be a bit more conservative when it comes to what type of videos I do to try to be more consistent. No. But at the same time, I think, you know, my relationship with reading, I'm really proud of myself for continuing to read much more than I ever read prior to 2024. So the fact that even though I have a child and it's decreased my reading is still far more than what it was before I started picking up books again and rediscovering my love for reading. So I'm really appreciative to that. I'm glad that I can still find joy in books, and I'm glad that I'm reading good books this year. Books that really resonate with me, books that made me excited to read. I'm glad that I'm able to find those books and explore them and get excited. Yeah, that is a win overall. It's like, even if I wasn't doing Booktube anymore, I think I really have found like a good balance for reading and just my day-to-day life. And that's my reflections. That's my thoughts on this whole video. I am excited because Summerween's coming up next week. So I will be having my Summerween TBR coming out the first day of Summerween. And then we will be traveling to Dallas that weekend as well to spend some time with our family. So a lot of fun things coming up here at the very beginning of the second half of the year. But we're going to sign off for now because I think baby is tired of me talking to you and like me to pay attention to him. So thank you so much for watching. If you're doing a mid-year freakout tag, please let me know. I'd love to go and send some love your way. Yeah, until next time, I hope you read a good book. I hope you find some joy. And most importantly, I hope you do something to make the world a better place. And I will see you in my next one. Say goodbye. Goodbye.